All right, this is for the Kickfire Analytics module install. On the Git repository, you'll find a package folder that'll have the update in it. And as of the making of this video, which today is June 12th, this is for 8.2.2. And the reason why it's 8.2 is I use the Microsoft dependency injection that's built into 8.2 to load up my integrations, and I got to make some versions that go backwards to 8.1, so anybody on 8.1 update whatever can use it. So for right now it's 8.2 plus, but you can go in the package and download it. And I've got a sim site here. All right, and I'm just going to install it like normal. Pick it up and just go through the steps. And I'll pause while it runs. All right, so the install is done, and our next step we're going to want to do is to publish. And I'll show you why. So what we've done is we've added a bunch of stuff to the marketing and the module side of Sitecore, and I'll show the marketing first. So what we've got is under marketing and then patterns, we've created several marketing profiles. So we've created several profiles for a called industry and for each of the industries that are going to come in from Kickfire. So Kickfire is going to give us industries, and Kickfire is going to give us SIC codes, and we're going to use a SIC code lookup to translate a SIC code into an industry, and then we're going to personalize based on the industry. So we've got all the industries, and we've got all the pattern cards that are associated to it, and we've got the engagement plans, all for the association to determine this company in this industry. I want to target information. I want to target sliders, pages, details, whatever we need. Then we've also got in the module section, under modules, we've got the Kickfire, and we've got grouping. And what a grouping is it is the group that's going to come in from the SIC code if we want to change the pattern that we're going to put this this user into. So if we want to change agricultural services to be a different pattern, we can do it here. If we want to organize several groups into one pattern card, so it's easier to personalize. You would do it here. SIC code override. If you want to change the SIC code that is inside the database and you want to override inside Sitecore, you can create a new SIC code, and that'll fill the information. And then there's tracker configuration. If we've determined from Kickfire that the IP that's been given is most likely in an ISP and untrackable, we can click that. We can check that to skip, because each call obviously is going to go against the count of the Kickfire API calls, and you get X number per month, and we don't want to waste them on Verizon cellular phones and stuff like that. So. Then we have skip non-US. For everyone that we've dealt with so far, they've had the choice and a need to not track calls that are coming from South America, you know, that they have no ability to interact with, to market with, and so they just say, give me anything inside the United States, skip everything else, because again, you're wasting API calls from Kickfire. So. Those two are there, and they are part of the configuration, and we need to publish those. Let's get them out to the web database. So that'll go out. All right, so publishing is complete. And I think now is a good time to talk about Kickfire. So from the Kickfire side, you can go to kickfire.com, and you can create a new account. You get a demo account. I think it has 250 calls, something like that, so you can kind of test it out. And what you want to create is, under API, you want to create a company endpoint. It would be down here. I've used all mine, so I can't create one anymore, but you want to create a company endpoint. And what the company will do is the company will, when requested, it will change an IP into a company. This key is dead, so don't really care if it's out there. And all this information is already inside of the code. All that we need is the API key. So if you go to Kickfire, generate a new API key, then you can bring it into the site. So when you're in the site, include ZBonfire. Then there's a feature Kickfire service. You want to open that, and your key will go right there. You can see here's the API call already. So you want to put your key in here. And I'll pause so I can update with my key. All right, the key's in and the site is refreshed. So it's got the ability to spoof for testing, right? So you can put in the site and do spoof, and you put in an IP. And this IP is for Pfizer. So I'll go into incognito, and I've initiated a session. So I've done all the work with Kickfire, and I've got this visitor details API, which will give me all my marketing information. So, and you can see here the company data that I've already processed is Pfizer. It gives me their location, all the information about them, their SIC code, and whatnot. So we've got the details right now, and this is all going to show up in the back end. And I'll go through that, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to extend it for SIC codes. So the last thing I want to do is I got a clear visitor session, which will it'll end the session and push everything back to XDB. So that is complete, and then I'll get rid of that. And if I come inside, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to the experience profile. We will see that Pfizer was on my website, and I can click in. And there is a company tab now that will show you all of the information. Now, all this information is inside of Mongo. Got picked up with the tracker, pushed in. It's a custom facet, and it's inside the analytics database and everything now. So Pfizer's come onto the site. If this IP comes from many other IPs, the history will be over here. And that's good because if you've got somebody who's roaming from office to office and you really haven't kind of targeted down who they are, when they get to their HQ and they signal that they actually do work for so and so company, you'll see the history of it. This is the latest information that we had, and the rest of it will pile up. Again, it's just it's a one-to-many relationship and a facet inside of Mongo. The other piece that's cool is that you can. We've extended this search box where you can type in a company name, and it'll go find all of the companies. Oh, there's over there. Okay, I was mistaken. Like, where'd it go? So you can search for a company name now, and it will search for people, and it will also search for companies. So if you want to see who has been on my site from IBM, type in IBM. Poof, and it'll show you all of them. You can get to the same. Place. If I can go back, this is a searchable link too. This will take you to the search and show you the same thing. So you can see who from a certain company has been on the website, and then you can go into that actual interaction. You can see the pages they've viewed, all that kind of stuff. So if you know that company so-and-so has been on the website, you can search for IBM, see all the IBMs that have been on the website. Look at all the interactions, look at their timelines, look at everything based on who they are. So this is very B2B, but we found it to be super useful. So that's the company tracking side, and now there's a SIC code side, which I talked about earlier. And the SIC code side is the part where we are going to put them into an engagement plan. We're going to put them into a pattern, all that kind of stuff. So to enable that, if we look at the web and we go into the feature for SIC code service, there's SQL, right? And then so this is going to create. You give it a database, and it will create a table called SIC codes and fill it full of all the SIC codes that we've got. I was drawing them slow. That's fine. So So I have that already inside my database. Database called Sitecode, and it has all the Sitcodes in it. So this is just a regular SQL database. I put it into its own. You can put it in the web database if you wanted to. I tend to leave Sitecore databases alone and create my own. So all we need to do now is we need to add a connection string and enable a Boolean so to turn it on, and then you'll see how it works when it's on. All right, so now we will go into connection strings, and I'm just going to copy the web connection string, sweet passwords, right? All right, and we're going to call this, it's called Sitcode. It looks for it by name. And the database is Sitcodes. All right, so by saving that, we're halfway there. And then what we can do is go back into ZBonfire, open up, oh, it's not in there, it's in settings. Kickfire settings. And process Sitcode right here, and we're going to change this to true. So now that that's true, what we'll see now is I got to refresh this site now. So let me refresh it without you wasting your time. All right, so it's coming back around, and I'm going to visit the site. So I'm going in as Pfizer again. All right, and I'm going to do my details again. And what we'll see now is that the Pfizer's in there like always, but what we have now is we have a new profile. Well, that's mine. That new profile is mine. But we're in a profile called Industry, and inside the Industry, it's called Wholesale, and it's 5122. And if we look in the SQL database under 5122, as I can get down there. Expand this. 5122. We'll see that it's inside Wholesale, right? So what you can do is you can change this either in SQL or in Sitecore. You can change this to be a different grouping. If you want to create a grouping which is just based on pharmaceuticals, that you can pick all the Sitcodes that are pharmaceutical related, create a new grouping, and then associate it in Sitecore so that anybody who comes to your site and they are a pharmaceutical company be picked up, and then you can personalize based on the pharmaceutical industry. So anybody comes along, if they're at their HQ or whatever it may be. But that's the Sitcode part of it. So when you come to the website, if Sitcodes are enabled, it reads from the connection string, gets a database, finds 5122, returns it, translates it through Sitecore, and then puts it into the pattern card. Basically, it accelerates the points for the pattern up to the point where it needs to be, and triggers it to put you into the pattern. So now this person is in the pattern of Wholesale for the extent of their journey, and then you can personalize on it, do content, multivariate testing, that kind of stuff, based on their industry. But that's the Sitcode side of it. So you got the company side, which we're tracking company through the experience profile, where you can see which company they came from, see who it came in, how many people have come from that company, all that kind of information. And then there's the personalization side, and the fact that they're kicked into a campaign right now that you can alter the campaign to, that will start a journey for them. If you can gain email addresses, that kind of stuff, start being able to email them. You know that they're in a certain market segment, and you can email based on that market segment because they're in the pattern of pharmaceutical. Let's send them a pharmaceutical related email just based on the IP that they came from. So that's the extent of getting it installed. Then it's all related to just building up data. So thank you.